On the line now for an Eskom review is Chris Yelland. He's an MD and energy analyst at EE Publishers. Chris, thanks so much for your time. What seems to be the problem with Eskom now?
Well, the problems are multiple. Are we talking about immediate problems, or are we talking about underlying problems within the Eskom structure?
Let's talk about the immediate problems. Let's talk about what has been in the news flow as of now, talking about more power cuts.
Yes, I think we're going to have to get used to ongoing and extended, load shedding, not just for a week or a month, but maybe for a year or even longer on an intermittent basis. The difference between supply and demand at the moment is very tightly matched. And in fact, on some days, demand exceeds supply, and that's why we're having load shedding. That's the immediate situation. The reasons for this are many, but underlying all the consequential reasons is one major fundamental reason, and that is that Medupi and Kusile power station are running 10 years late. 5 years late as a result of policy indecision between 1999 and 2004. That really can be attributed to government, and a further 5-year execution delay in the execution of these projects, which can be attributed to Eskom. Of course, Eskom, blames its contractors, its labor, skills, and many problems that it's experienced during construction. But it is the EPC main contractor, and it is responsible for delivering Medupi and Kusile on time and on budget. And on both those issues, it is not succeeding.
Chris, if we take a look at some of the backlogs, we heard about the mishap that took place at its Koeberg plant just the other day. And not forgetting Medupi, as you mentioned, is already now being pushed back again by another 6 weeks. Some say when it rains, it pours.
Yes, we seem to be flooded with problems right now, coming thick and fast. If a power system was running with sufficient reserve margin, that means spare generation capacity ready to deliver electricity into the grid, then none of these would be problems. A trip out of Koeberg, a unit tripping out here, there, or at another power station, all of these things would be taken for in their stride. But the problem is, because Medupi and Kusile are running so late, they should have brought an extra 25% of generation capacity on the stream, and if so, we would have had enough spare margin, reserve margin, to handle these mishaps. But when you delay 25% of South Africa's generation capacity for 10 years, the situation becomes dire. Any single mishap, such as the tripping out of the reactor at Koeberg, taking 900 megawatts off the grid, or the tripping of a generator here, there, or anywhere, taking 600 megawatts off the grid, all of those could have been handled. But we're in a crisis situation because Medupi and Kusile are running late and we don't have sufficient reserve margin.
Chris, we have been in sticky situations with Eskom before, so it's not a first. But in terms of how Eskom has been managing the situation, are you getting a sense that they are doing a better job at this when it comes to communication with the general public, with industry?
No, I think they're doing a worse job right now with communications to the public. You see, they've set up a so-called war room. This is a form of crisis management. What it really means is that a number of government departments, such as Department of Energy, Department of Public Enterprise, Department of Finance, the Government Communication Information Service, and Eskom are all meeting at the union buildings to manage this crisis. What it really means, or what it's really a sign of, is that the government is moving into the engine room of Eskom. Now, it's not surprising that they move into the engine room of Eskom, because if Eskom was performing well and meeting its shareholder compact, the shareholder would have no reason to want to enter the engine room. They enter the engine room, when Eskom is failing to meet its shareholder compact. And it's like an open invitation for government to move into the engine room. Not that I think that government is going to do a better job than Eskom. In fact, possibly the contrary. When you have bureaucrats and non-technical persons and politicians tinkering around in the engine room of a complex technical business like Eskom, then sometimes the unexpected can happen. It doesn't inspire me with confidence that the shareholder is moving into the engine room of Eskom.
Chris, thank you so much for your time today and the update that you provided us on the power utility Eskom.